Hey guys, SAIYAN here, bringing another Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle video, and so today we are going to be taking a look at the Dark Masked King and the Black Masked Saiyan, who will be getting their EZA with this batch of Heroes units EZAing this year. That is going to be happening, what day is it now? We are literally just over a week away. It will be Tuesday evening, Wednesday morning if you're in my time zone for Heroes, so it's getting very, very close indeed. So I wanted to jump in here and showcase these guys. We're doing a bit of an interesting team build compared to the kind of thing I would normally run them on, because I thought rather than run them on the Heroes team, let's go ahead and use a bit of an interesting setup here where we're using the Sword of Hope Trunks, because obviously he is a 200% lead for time travelers. So most of the Heroes units are time travelers. There's only one or two that aren't. So they'll all be on his team, but obviously, as you probably know at this point, maybe you don't, but Black Masked Saiyan is Vegeta and Dark Masked King is King Vegeta. So these units are on Vegeta's family. We're going to use the Xeno Vegeta because he is a Vegeta family support unit. We've got these guys on here as well. There'll be a very good slot 1 unit for the other rotation. Bardock's just here because he's a time traveler and a crossover unit, because these units do have some restrictions, right? Dark Masked King is probably the easiest one to use because he guards if there are if there is another Dragon Ball Heroes ally on the same turn. So he needs it to be the same turn, but he just needs that one ally. Whereas when we get to the Black Masked Saiyan, he gets extra attack and a medium chance to crit when there are 3 or more, when there are another 3 or more, so it has to be not him included, crossover allies on the team. So the other crossover allies will be Dark Masked King, Xeno Vegeta, and then we have the physical Bardock here as a support unit because he is a crossover unit as well. For some reason I never remember that he's on time travelers. So yeah, good team, and we're using the Bulma, was it Bulla is Born support memory, because that buffs Vegeta family, so it's the whole team except for Bardock basically. So when we take a look at the Black Masked Saiyan, he is a slot 2 unit. He does immense damage to the enemy, lowers attack and defense. He gets attack and defense 160 when ki is 6 or more, 2 ki when ki is 10 or more, so you just have to get to 10 and then he will obviously get the extra 2 and do a super, and then he gets that extra attack and crit chance with the crossover allies. So he gets all of his stats on super attack, so you can see at the start of turn he is at 60k but then he's going to be getting the 160 on super, so it's what, double plus an extra half, so he's going to be going up to somewhere around 130, which is not obviously great in the current meta, but bear in mind when he gets his EZA, we are going to see hopefully some start of turn numbers as well. He's going to have EZA stats, and then obviously he is a unit. I mean, I feel like we say this for every EZA, so I don't always like bringing it up because I sound like a broken record, right? It's the thing that everybody wants to see in every EZA, but having some sort of defense raise on super would obviously be very good for him, because with his initial build anyway, having the attack lowering and having the built-in ability to crit, building him with a lot of additional was probably always the way to go anyway. So obviously if he's able to raise defense on super, that would be really, really good. So unfortunately, as we start off against a tech enemy here, with no support as well, that is a lot of damage from normal attacks. Unfortunately, when it comes to this duo, the Dark Masked King and Black Masked Saiyan, Dark Masked King has just always been the better of the two. Like, having to have an ally on rotation with you is an annoying restriction for team building, but he gets guard, which is obviously very good. And then we'll look at his passive when he comes onto the rotation. I wanted to try and get them both on the same turn, but we had Black Masked Saiyan on turn 1 and Dark Masked King was in slot 7, so I feel like that is good enough. And then I think what we'll do here, we'll take the risk of keeping you in slot 1, just so you can get some build up here. Because obviously Xeno Vegeta, very good support unit for the Vegeta family characters, but he does infinitely stack, so we want him to get some build up before we get to the harder stages. Unfortunately, both him and the Goku have kind of aged to the point now where, you know, especially with the new events from like the worldwide celebration being so hard right from the start, it means that, you know, he doesn't really get much time to actually stack and be good for these tougher events. So we want him to try and get as many stacks as possible here. Trunks gets the KO, and then this is the rotation that we want to use. So we're going to get you floated off here. So Dark Mask King, very similar in his attack ability, right? Immense damage to the enemy, and then he lowers attack and defense. So both of these guys together on like Super Battle Road were always a really good rotation, because Dark Mask King goes in slot 1 and he guards. He gets attack and defense 100%. He gets another 100% defense for 5 turns after receiving an attack. And then, yeah, he guards with the hero's ally on the same turn, and he recovers 10% damage dealt as HP. So I have high hopes for this guy, but then at the same time, they've kind of shown in the past that they're not great with healing units, not completely fumbling their EZAs. Because you can see here, we're starting off with 127k defense. Not great, but we have guard. As soon as he gets that first hit, he gets a 100% defense buff, so it jumps up to 250, which with guard is still relatively good. And the reason why he works so well as a slot 1 unit is we're going to see here, it's only the 1 hit, but he's going to get hit once here, then he's going to get his defense buff, he's going to super, which is then going to heal us based on the damage that he does, and then he'll be tanking better after that first hit. So I guess we'll just grab these. So yeah, obviously he's one of those units, he gets the buff for a few turns, so the first attack he takes of the entire event, if it is a super, that would be unfortunate. But we get the hit here. Obviously any additionals are good for him because we get a little bit of extra healing. Then he takes double-digit damage. How much is he going to take from this? Because bear in mind, like, this is just to kind of re-showcase. It's like a bit of a refresher as to what these cards do. Gives us the opportunity to talk about like what we'd like to see from their EZA and stuff like that. But these units are obviously very outdated. They got their awakenings quite some time ago. I mean, you can see Black Mask SAIYAN here, even without type disadvantage now, he's still taking like 100k from normal attacks, which is a lot. Like I say, he's the worst of the two, but I could see them giving him the ability to be good, right? Because he does get a lot of stats on super. If they give him some start of turn stats, as well as having like the EZA stat boost, right? Then when he gets that buff on super, it's going to be significantly bigger. And then obviously he is going to have the potential to get like a super attack effect. So if he has like, imagine if they make the Black Mask SAIYAN greatly raise attack and defense for 1 turn. Because then he's getting so much of a buff on super that after supering, his stats will actually be really good, I think. So it remains to be seen what they'll do. Now, what we've seen with the Heroes units in the past is they've taken those restrictions of the number of allies and then reduced them with Awakenings or EZAs, right? Like the Gohan and Super Saiyan 4 Bardock, they were perfect examples. They needed multiple allies and then that number was reduced. So with Vegeta needing another 3 crossover allies, another already means outside of himself, right? So he already needs other characters, and we want to use these guys on other teams potentially. So of course we had to take the suit. That was on Xeno Vegeta, wasn't it? All right, let's just cut back in. Okay, so we're back. We basically had the exact same setup again with Black Mask SAIYAN on turn 1, Dark Mask King on turn 2. Got a bit of a better setup here. Now, one thing I did want to mention is the fact that they do share almost the exact same link set. Dark Mask King has Loyalty and Black Mask SAIYAN has Prodigies. Unfortunately, they do both have the Berserker link, which is pretty bad, right? Like, obviously, it's HP restricted 50% or less, but then it is 30% extra attack. So there will be situations where you can get that link active, and then it'll be a nice little bit of extra damage. But anyway, what I was saying before we was summarily killed by the second form cell, talking about the restrictions on the characters being reduced once they EZA. So Vegeta's the big one, right? He needs 3 other crossover allies. So if we wanted to run him on like a Vegeta family team, for example, now obviously we have Dark Mask King. We're going to be getting the blue Berserk controlled Vegeta as part of this new batch of characters, but we don't want to have to run so many crossover units. So obviously the ideal would be if they changed it to him only needing 1 other crossover character, but I don't know if maybe that feels, maybe that's a little bit too generous. Maybe they won't go that far, but that would obviously be very, very good for us. But I could see it dropping down to another 2, which wouldn't be too bad, as long as obviously they make that blue Berserk controlled Vegeta good. But it is crossover and not just heroes. right? So units like the Super Saiyan Bardoks, if they give those Xenoverse units EZAs finally, I made a video about that a little while ago, that would obviously be super beneficial. And then Dark Mask King, he only needs a Heroes unit on the rotation. So realistically, the only way they could make that any better is if they change it to just being on the team instead of on the same turn, which would obviously be a very good buff as well, because then you're not restricted in how you build your rotations with him. But again, I think with him only needing the one ally on the turn to have an ability as powerful as God is, I don't think they would change that to you just have to have a Heroes ally on the team. But who knows? That would obviously be very, very good. Like I say, Dark Mask King is kind of the one I'm most looking forward to, but also a little bit worried about out of the two. And in fact, out of most of the EZAs in general. There's like him, the Demon Goddess Toa, Physical Demon Demigra. Like some of these EZA units, the Extreme units getting their EZAs this year, are going to be so beneficial for the Extreme teams if their EZAs turn out to be good, right? So very much looking forward to seeing what they're going to do. Dark Mask King, if they do in fact give him any sort of extra damage ability, like I said about the Vegeta, right, having greatly raised attack and defense for one turn on Super, if they did that for the Dark Mask King, obviously the more damage he does, the more damage he heals you. So that's where I think his kit works really well, like on paper, is you put him in slot 1, he takes a hit, takes a little bit of extra damage, then he gets the defense buff. Then he takes a couple more hits potentially. He's guarding, so hopefully he's not going to take that much damage. You know, we're talking post-EZA with the EZA stats. And then he supers and heals you a whole bunch, right? So if he's able to do a decent amount of damage, if you get a crit, if you get an additional super, you could potentially heal back all of the damage that he took in slot 1. And then obviously that would be the ideal scenario, right? So I'm looking forward to these guys. Of course, you know, they're very on brand for me, the Masked Saiyans. We are, of course, getting the Super Saiyan 3 Rose. He has his broken Timebreaker mask as well. Still a bit far off of making the full Timebreaker mask team, unfortunately. You know, we still need to get, you know, there's a Dark Mask Broly in Heroes that is pretty cool. There's a Masked Super 17. We got a few good units that we can still get along the way. I'm a little bit worried about us getting clapped again on this turn, thanks to the fact that Cell can do multiple super attacks. I think, do I want to use an item here? Will I be okay? I mean, I feel like I've covered all the topics I wanted to talk about with the Dark Mask King and the Black Mask Saiyan. You guys have got to see what they can do a little bit. I mean, considering they don't stack in any way, they don't build up as part of their passive, we're obviously not going to see much of a different performance out of them here. And considering how old they are, like, you know, the Cell Red Zone stage is not exactly the hardest stage anymore. He does start to hit hard in the later stages, but, I mean, you know, we saw Black Mask Saiyan taking 100k from a normal from the second form Cell, which is not ideal. So these guys definitely, Black Mask Saiyan has been outdated for a while. Of course he did. This is the unfortunate thing with Bardock. So yeah, physical Bardock, the first hit you take a lot of damage, then he guards. Now, we would live the turn as long as he doesn't super again, but unfortunately Cell can super twice. Double super here from Vegeta is good. He is greatly raising on both of his supers here, but oh nice, we did manage to make it through. Okay, so do I use the standby with you? I mean, it kind of messes up the rotation of having Dark Mask King here to get us the heals, but I guess what I could do is I could do this, then we'll get these, or this I should say, then we will use the standby. I know it's kind of wasted in this slot, but because of the turns that we have it active, we could always use it when he comes back. And then grab the orbs here. Will Dark Mask King live in slot 1? That's the question. If he only takes a normal attack, I think he will, although we have no support. Let's see. Do I want to... I mean, like I said, I don't need to keep this going super long. I was going to say I could use a Whis, but how much does he take from one normal attack? Don't super me. Oh, he takes double digits. Okay, well, there you go. So we get the super. We heal a little bit. Unfortunately, though, we kind of all know where this is going at this point, right? Black Mask Saiyan is about to let us down tremendously. If he's taking 100k from second form Cell. We got the double super, though. So again, if his EZA gives him any sort of defense raising on super, That's going to be pretty good. And then, of course, he's now going to get super. This is going to do, what, like 1 million damage, maybe? Oh, no, only 587. Okay. Well, there you go. So, Black Mask Saiyan, Dark Mask King. Not much to look at right now, although Dark Mask King can still kind of hold his own a little bit because Guard is such a strong ability. But these units getting their EZAs very, very soon. Very much looking forward to seeing what they are going to do with these guys. Dark Mask King could have a pretty cool sticker effect because he has the key orb in front of him. Black Mask Saiyan one could be okay as well. I've always thought his art is very weird, just like the pose that they chose for it, because it's the looking off to the side and stuff cards. I'm never as much of a fan. But yeah, will be interesting to see what they do with these guys. Let me know what you think down below. If you were designing their EZA, what would you do for them? Let us know in the comments section. So that is going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Masked Ningen. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Check out the links down below for the Discord and the merch store, and I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.